AI, machine learning, deep learning, Gen AI, you hear these buzzwords everywhere, right? But what do they actually mean? And how in the world do they all fit together? Well, today we're going to break it all down. We're going to pull back the curtain on artificial intelligence, from its really simple beginnings all the way to its wild new creative powers.
So, when you hear AI, you probably picture something from a sci-fi movie, right? Futuristic robots, super smart computers. But the thing is, AI isn't some far-off future concept. It's already here, and it's woven into our daily lives in ways you probably don't even notice.
I mean, just think about it for a second. How does your phone know it's you just by looking at your face? Or how does Amazon somehow know the exact product you were just thinking about? That's all AI. That spam filter that keeps your inbox from exploding? AI. The predictive text that finishes your sentences? You got it. These aren't just little tricks. They're all powered by machine learning, working behind the scenes.
Okay, so if AI is everywhere, what's with all the different names? The best way to untangle all this jargon is to think of it like a family tree. Each new generation builds on the one before it, getting a little smarter, a little more capable each time.
It all kicked off right here with what we now call traditional AI. This is the old school stuff. Picture one of those classic chess computers. It's programmed with a very strict set of if this happens, then do that rules. It is brilliant at playing chess, but that's it. It can't learn from its mistakes. It can't adapt. It's powerful, for sure, but totally rigid.
And then came the first massive evolution, machine learning. And this is where things get really, really cool. Instead of a human writing a million rules, we just feed the machine a ton of data and let it figure out the patterns for itself. It looks at the past to predict the future. This was a fundamental shift, moving from being programmed to actually learning.
Which brings us to deep learning, a superpowered, specialized branch of machine learning. The inspiration for this is literally the human brain. Deep learning uses these complex webs called artificial neural networks to find incredibly subtle and complex patterns in massive, massive data sets. This is the engine behind so many of today's biggest AI breakthroughs, like your voice assistant or self-driving cars.
So, let's put it all together. Think of it like this. Artificial intelligence is the big umbrella, the whole field. Inside that, you've got machine learning, which is all about learning from data. And then, as a really powerful piece of that, you have deep learning, using those brain-like neural networks. Each one is just a layer deeper in the family tree.
So what is it, really, that sets deep learning apart from everything that came before? What's the secret sauce that makes it so incredibly powerful?
You know, this quote from a discussion online really hits the nail on the head. It's all about building understanding layer by layer. It's kind of like how a kid learns to read, right? First, you see simple shapes and lines. Then those lines form letters, letters form words, and words form whole sentences. Deep learning does a very similar thing, but with data. And that brings us to the single biggest difference, the real game changer. With classical machine learning, a human expert has to do something called feature engineering. Basically, they have to tell the model exactly what details to pay attention to in the data. But with deep learning, the network does automatic feature extraction. It figures out what's important all by itself. It learns what matters without us having to point it out.
And this is where its power is just almost unbelievable. It's like being asked to find a needle in a haystack, but you've never even been told what a needle looks like. In one real-world case, a model was trying to find the cause of a defect in a factory. A human would check the usual machines, but the model sifted through everything and found the real culprit, the building's air conditioning system turning on and off. A person would have never thought to check that, but the machine found that hidden pattern.
So, with all that incredible power, you'd probably think deep learning is always the best tool for the job, right? Well, not so fast. Let's look at this fascinating case from the world of cybersecurity where, believe it or not, the old school approach actually won.
Okay, so the challenge was detecting malware, nasty, malicious software. Researchers set up a showdown. In one corner, you've got a classic machine learning model called a random forest. And in the other corner, a super sophisticated, multi-layered deep neural network. The big question was, who could spot the bad guys more accurately?
And the results were kind of shocking. The really complex, 7-layer deep neural network did a great job, no doubt. But the classical model, the random forest, it achieved an even higher accuracy. I mean, that's just a stunning result. The simpler, older method was actually better at this specific job.
99.78%. That's the winning score. Almost perfect. And it didn't come from the complex, fancy, brain-inspired network. It came from the simpler algorithm. But why? How is that possible?
So why did the simpler model win? Well, the researchers basically concluded that for this problem, the incredible power of deep learning was just overkill. Sometimes a tool can be too smart for its own good. It starts seeing patterns in random static, while a simpler model just sticks to the most important signals. It's a huge reminder that the newest, shiniest, most complex tool isn't always the right one.
And that lesson, choosing the right tool for the job, is so important as we turn to the latest and greatest evolution in the AI family. See, so far, everything we've talked about is AI that can analyze, that can predict. But this next leap is something else entirely. Now we're talking about AI that can actually create. Welcome to the world of generative AI, or Gen AI. And honestly, this is a complete game changer. Every other type of AI we discussed was about looking at data that already exists. Gen AI does the exact opposite. It learns all the patterns from data it's seen, and then it uses that knowledge to generate brand new, totally original content that has never existed before.
And what it can create is just mind-boggling. We're talking about AI that can write entire news articles, generate working software code, and compose music. It can create photorealistic art from just a few words, design new product concepts, and even write personalized human-sounding emails. The creative potential here is just absolutely staggering.
So, we've gone on this journey from AI that just follows rules to AI that learns, and now all the way to an AI that can be a creative partner. And that leaves us with the really big question we're all starting to face. As AI evolves from being just an analyst into an artist, what kind of new frontiers is that can open up, not just for technology, but for human creativity itself?